I guess I'll get up here and give the status quo statement that you do after every spring. Well, I guess not many people are doing it as much anymore. So, but look, today was a perfect example of why I think it's important to play spring games. There's a lot of reasons behind it. From external, from fans and student body and people around. But the importance is when you go out and scrimmage and you have people in stands and it's a different environment, and you don't know how you're going to scrimmage by the way you practice necessarily. You hope you do, right? Well, then you don't know how you're going to scrimmage in a stadium with people in it, as opposed to a stadium that's empty, right? Well, then it comes to playing the game. So it's just everything we're doing trying to shrink that gap between, our preparation and playing in the game, and this is another step towards that. And really, it's the only time in college football that you have an opportunity to play in front of people and see what guys are going to do. Are they going to be looking in the stands and talking to people? Or are they going to try to do things they hadn't done? But these are all coaching moments and coaching opportunities and chances for us to take things that might have been failures or mistakes that kids made or us as coaches make, and then be able to get those corrected and go play. So I was pleased with the effort today. I was pleased with the guys. I thought we've had a good spring. And the thing I told them afterwards was, I think we have a chance to have a good football team. Right? But if they want to have a chance to have a really good or a great football team, right? Then from this point on, everyone will make the commitment and to themselves and each other, and make the decision to do a little bit more, and do a little bit more, and do a little bit more from this point forward, right? And if we can do that, I like our chances of continuing to come together as a football team and have a chance to play good football this year.
Okay, questions, Kelly?
What's your assessment of the secondary and how it's grown with Coach Gideon? It seemed like they were really flying around today, getting after it, more aggressive and confident in their play.
Yeah, we've really improved from the first few days and in the first scrimmage until now with getting off of blocks, rallying to the ball, limiting explosives. You're always going to get, there's always going to be one-on-one opportunities at some point in the game, somewhere, and you got to win those one-on-ones. Last week we didn't have any turnovers. This week we had 3, I think, that we were able to get on the defensive side of the football. And some of them, when you're doing a scrimmage like that, it's a true game scrimmage. You don't necessarily always have the situations you want, but we were lucky enough to get some important situations in the scrimmage today and really see how people execute during those, whether offense or defense. So we had some short yardage, we had some fourth downs, had some long field goals, had some 4th and 1s. So I thought the secondary, and then of course all it takes is one person on the back end. O-line and secondary are so closely related. I mean, it's a lot of guys that have to work together, and one mistake is catastrophic. So, but I've been pleased with the improvement. I've been pleased with the coaching. Schematically, pleased with what we're doing, and excited to continue to move forward with it.
Chad? Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan, you got the microphone. My bad.
That's all right.
Yep.
Okay, so starting, coming into the spring.
National champs, Mike. Yes, you got a little on his mind right now. Daughters won a national championship, so.
All right. Coming into the spring, you probably had some unanswered questions, and you talk a little bit about what has improved and kind of answer that, and then now heading out of spring, tell us a little bit about kind of where you need to work on it, what you need to work on as a team.
That might be the most broad question I've ever heard.
It was intentionally broad.
Can you say it again?
What I think, let's get more specific.
Yeah, that's I don't have enough hours in the day left to talk about that.
You talked about areas that you expected coming in the spring that you felt like you really needed to look at,
okay,
evaluate.
All of them. No, I'm with you. Well, offensive line, we got a lot of young guys and new guys there, and I'll go position by position with it. We wanted to develop the young guys, right? Guys that might be older that have not played as much. We wanted to get those in. And really, there's not a lot of older guys, and you don't have that as much anymore. You don't have that older guy that's 3rd year, 4th year guy that's been in the program and ready to have his time out there. So it's developing a lot of young guys seeing those guys come together. We did not mix and match as many on the O-line up front this spring. Wanted to give some of these guys some opportunities to hone into one position or maybe two positions. So you didn't see us flip-flopping guys as much as normally I have in my past. And that was because we do have young ones there. You go from the first scrimmage we had 2 weeks ago, I think we gave up 15. I think what defense claims 15, offense claims 10. There was a few I could have blown the whistle on, but you're talking about probably 13, 14 sacks. To then last week it was probably 3 or 4, and then today a couple. So the run game, getting those guys used to playing next to each other. I thought pretty good on the cadence and getting the snap. Early on the first drive of the game, we had a couple of snaps that were low, but then we settled in. But again, that's why I believe it's important to have spring games and have people in front of these kids, because all of a sudden fans get out there and the anxiety gets kicked up a little bit and they do things they hadn't done, and so now you can coach off of that. A lot of new guys up front on the D-line, and seeing those guys come in, and for the new guys, really it was learning how to practice the way we practice. Right? You can never be able to play the game the way we want to play the game if we don't know how to practice. And it took a couple of weeks now to get to the point where we knew how to started learning how to practice, and you could see the improvement each week. And the coaches worked their tails off coaching the crap out of it to get better. Last year we didn't have a lot of depth at running back, and we brought some guys in, and that is one position we've had some guys develop. Trey Maddox, man, he is really running confident out there right now. We all know who Jamal is. I mean, Jamal's is a complete, total package back as there is. And but to see Trey Maddox, see JP today, Dalen Gordon's had a great spring. We've got a really deep group there, and excited for those guys. I'm excited. I think Norv does an unbelievable job of developing those guys, coaching them up. The other side was, some of the new faces and whatnot at linebacker. And I think we have a deep group there. And, we got 4 or 5 guys that can all play winning football for us. Well, you look at linebacker and safety, tight ends, those positions, running backs, that's also the core of your special teams, right? And that was something we spent a lot of time on from the offseason into last year until now, is really, whether it be schematically, whether it be personnel on the field, whether it be personnel in the coaching staff, we spent a lot on the special teams part of it. So, kind of a broad stroke over it all, but I'm pleased at the point where we are right now from where we started. All right, now it's not saying anything about what the season's going to be or how we're going to go once we get back here in 5 weeks and then start into summer. But if we can continue and pick up where we left off right now throughout the summer, I'm excited about our chances.
Check.
Did I hear correctly the winning team gets steak and lobster?
What team were you on?
And how do you determine that for the guys who played on both teams?
Everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
It's like you have a bug in my office, what we've been talking about.
Maybe I did.
I saw a hand raised in the back. Well, if you can go back there. Thanks.
I just wanted to know the idea behind the double pass. Why call that in this moment of the spring game?
Why not? We're trying to develop the depth at all positions, so including the quarterback position. So we wanted to see Jamal get out there and be able to sling it, and I felt like I was duck hunting or like pheasant hunting or something. I've had my 12 gauge. It was. I let those guys put some gadgets and trick plays in. Just look, this is a reward for the players too. You go through 14 days of practice, and I promise you, our practices they're real practice now. And that's the thing about spring. You go through all those practices, and there's no really reward other than the spring game. The reward is you're getting better, but during the season you're preparing to play games. All right, so give them an opportunity to go out there and play, and you want to see guys have fun too. We talk about that all the time, about being able to have fun and celebrate with your teammates. Well, you don't know how someone's going to react in game 1 if they've never done it before. So this gives them a stage to go out and be able to do those things and have a little fun with it.
Cup.
Now that your spring's over and you're 6 weeks away from summer workouts or whatever it is, how do you focus through the next couple weeks? Obviously, the portal opens. That's going to be a headache for all of the coaches in college football. Hopefully you could get what you want to do there done, but how do you approach all of that? And is it the constant communication with players and understand where everyone's at? And how do you kind of master all of that, I guess, would be my question.
Yeah, I don't think there's a perfect answer for it. But if you think it starts up now or starts up tomorrow, well, somebody's got their head in the sand. I mean, this has been something that is year round. This is something that we've really started attacking a couple of weeks ago. But the relationships are year round. The transparency you have to have with your players. The crazy thing is, like, some people might think, well, a kid might not like it somewhere because he's being coached hard and thinks somebody's not being fair. The kids that usually are sitting in these positions, and they want to be told the truth. They want to be coached hard. They want to be developed. Right? The second you don't do those things and you're not transparent with them, that's when they're going to see through it. So, the ingrained, really the culture and substance of our program, leads to that. But it's year round. It's constant. It's always, relationships lead to any and all transactions that occur. In a transactional world, you have to have relationships to be able to get there. And then there's some people that, the reason the portal was created was to give people opportunity that might not necessarily have it at a place and needed to feel like they could further themselves. But, it's important to show guys progression of improvement too, right? To show them where they started and where they are now, right? What the plan is, okay? Look, everyone's not a starter, but everyone has opportunity to be a starter. Everyone does, okay? So say, well, I want to be the starter. Well, then go get your butt and work hard in the weight room, all right? Well, what did you do the last 2 days, right? And you start asking those questions and being blunt with them, being upfront and honest. It's important to ask those things. Like, you want to be good or you want to be great? If you want to be great, like, okay, well, let's talk about what it takes. All right, did you do this with your meals? Did you do this with your sleep habits? Did you do this with with extra reps with whatever on your own? Well, no, not yesterday or not this week. Well, then don't tell me you want to be great. Okay, so it's honesty and transparency, and look, this is an opportunity for us to continue to make our football team better and better, right? And I've told our staff numerous times. I've told our team, right, the most important portal is in that locker room right there. Those are the most important guys in the country to me. It's not people somewhere else, right? If we have an opportunity to add guys in here or there to fill a hole, that's great. But those guys right there, those are the most important ones to me.
Question for you, Coach. I know obviously you assessed the whole game, but just your thoughts on some of the spring standouts. AJ Sheeks had 5 tackles today, the interception. Zion Taylor had a really good day as well. Kelvin Hill, 6 tackles, led you guys in tackles. Just your thoughts on their performance today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch the film. I mean, there's so much going on out there for me today. I mean, you're getting interviewed and talked to, and I'm trying to hear both sides of the calls and, listening to the flow of the defense and the calls on the defense, going through a game situation. And, you see the flashes of things out there, but really those aren't anything different than what's happening. And AJ had a bad knee injury a year ago. He's come back from it. A guy that's really persevered in the program, and he's a joy to be around. The guys enjoy being around him. He's a joy to have in the program. Kelvin's had that's nothing different than he's done since the day he got here. I mean, he is a football player, and so not surprised to hear that statistically with him. And then Zion, y'all have heard me talk about Zion for the last several weeks now. I mean, he is the true, really, when you want to see a player, right, that is kind of going against the norm in college football right now, right, that's Zion Taylor. Right, he's the poster child of development within a program. And understanding, right, you stay in a program and you believe in the things that are taking place, right, you're going to get better. If you pick your ball up and go somewhere else and run, right, well, you're starting over again. And you're seeing the fruits of his labor now really start to show up. And I've been super pleased with him. Although the best thing that happened today was Zion. Aaron threw a beautiful ball down the left sideline and right in his hands and dropped it. And then very soon after that, believed in him, went to him again, and made a great play. And that's what I talk about with being able to put a bad play behind, play the next play. All right, whether you do something good or bad, you got to put it aside and be able to go on to the next one. And right, practice, you're doing it, and you try to make practice the same. But when you're out here and you got fans in the stadium and your family and all these people and everybody's watching you on TV, and you make a play, and you have a drop like that, you can go in the tank pretty easy. Just showing the maturity he's had in the program, what he's done. I mean, I'm as pleased with him as anybody.
Mike, you're good? Okay. Alex, did you still have one? We'll wrap up with Alex, sir.
You talked about Zion. It seemed like there was an emphasis today to stretch the field. Is that kind of just a byproduct of trying to be exciting for the fans, or do you see that kind of being part of the offensive vertical passing game, especially when you get those receivers back?
Yeah, I mean, we had some guys out today, receiver-wise, and you got to see some of the younger guys go out and play. And no, I didn't really put any constraints saying, hey, we want to go vertical, or we want to run the ball more, or we want to do this or that. I mean, look, we had maybe 8 or 10 plays then on offense, if that, and maybe 4 calls on defense. That was more so for not wanting people to see, things on TV. But now, look, we're past the point of wanting to, hey, let's go out and manufacture points in a spring game and have it all exciting and fun. I mean, 2019, what was it, 2019? Mm-hmm. 2019?
Yes,
Well, that was indicative of what our spring was. And our spring was pretty even now. I mean, that was a microcosm of what our entire spring has been, right? And like I didn't want to, go out there and manufacture some type of thing to have points and throw it up against this guy. And I mean, look, we are who we are, right? And this program's established itself and has an identity, right? And we're going out and doing what's best for us.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.